Thank you everybody for joining us. My guest today is Mr. Mike Smith. I'm very pleased to have him, and thank you so much for coming on.
Man, I appreciate it.
I feel like a broken record, but I am having a lot of trouble getting guests. So, if you got something to say and you'd like to come on, within reason, I'll let you come on and talk. But I really do appreciate Mr. Mike coming. And, as me and him were talking before we just started recording, I haven't really known Mr. Mike that long. I've been following him a little bit. I knew that he wrote for the paper some years, and I knew about his painting business, which seemed like a very strange transition to me, how you go from like journalism to painting. And I thought, did he have a midlife crisis or what? To go from that seems like one extreme to the other. But no, it's been a pleasure getting to know him, and thanks again for coming on. And we're going to talk about, your just journey from where you started out, getting into the painting business, or, before that, the work that you've done. And I'll let you give a little introduction. You can just kind of lay it out for everybody. So.
Okay. So like Steven said, I'm Mike Smith. Excuse me. How I got in the painting business was, it's kind of it was a full circle moment. Going back to how I really got there, I have to start at the beginning that when I was around 23 years old, didn't have any skills whatsoever. I had a baby on the way in 1990. And I was 23 years old, and so I started painting. I was a rookie, didn't know anything about it or anything, but I was like a sponge, and I just soaked up every bit of knowledge I could. Got pretty good at it, I feel like, and so that went on for a few years. I ended up, I was living in Memphis, and my mother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And that was a shock to our family, of course. And I moved back home. And the thing that was kind of happening at that time, they were building a casino in Caruthersville, Missouri. And I put in an application. I kind of knew a little bit about cards and knew about dice and stuff like that. During my, partying days way back, we shot dice and we played cards, of course. But I went to a blackjack school and got hired and started doing that. And within 6 to 8 months, I got promoted to what's called a dual rate supervisor, where sometimes you came in, you were a supervisor, and sometimes you still dealt the games. And they had they were going to start a blackjack school for people applying for a job that were going to go to work at the casino. And they selected me to teach the blackjack school. So I started doing that. And some of the people that I taught are actually still there today.
No kidding.
Yeah, they're still there. But I really enjoyed that. And what happened, what got me out of that is there was a craze going on about poker at that time, and they were going to open up a poker room. And I was urged by some supervisors, people above me, to put in for that.
Yeah.
And so I did. And along that same time frame, I was coaching my son's baseball team. And we had a pretty good little all-star team. That was actually, the coach was Bill Dickerson. He still lives in Dyersburg. But we went to the state tournament. It was held in Greenbrier. It was in Nashville. We had 4 different teams there, 4 different age groups. And the local paper, the State Gazette, nobody was there from the paper. And it really upset a bunch of us. So I ended up calling the publisher of the paper, which was Sheila Rouse, and told her, I was upset about it. And now she ended up getting somebody to come, but I told her, I said, if you ever get ready to get rid of this guy, I said, I can do a better job than what he's doing. So go back to the casino, the poker room manager, when they decided on that, they didn't pick me.
Yeah.
And I was led to believe that I was going to get that promotion. And I was just I was crushed about it. And so one day driving to work, Sheila Rouse called me.
Yeah.
And I pulled over on the interstate. I'll never forget it. And she said, you won't put your big boy pants on. We're going to get rid of this guy. And if you think you can do a better job in local sports, why don't you come down here and go to work?
Wow.
So I went home. I was single at the time, and I talked to my dad about it. And he really wanted me to get out of the casino, the gaming industry. And so I met with Sheila along with Chris Rimmel, who was the editor at the time, and they offered me a job. And that was in 2004.
Yeah.
And so I went to work, and man, the coverage got better and better. And, I worked really, really hard to make it better. Sheila was very supportive of any ideas I had, anything new I wanted to bring to it. And so that turned into a 10-year career there at the paper, as far as in sports.
Yeah. So that would have been 2014, 2015, that 10-year period, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That gets up to then. And my son-in-law is married to my oldest daughter, bonus daughter, Mallory. He had gone into construction with a buddy of his in Dyersburg, Lee Schultz. And he kept telling me, it's like, Pop, you ought to get back into painting, but I was getting on up in age a little bit. And so I had to think about it, had to pray about it, and didn't know, but I was running out of gas when I got promoted at the paper to editor. My passion went away. Sports was my passion. I mean, it still is to this day, really. And so when that went away and I became a manager, I'd had enough, and I went in July of 2019 to Sheila, and I offered her my resignation. I was going to, think about the painting or something.
Yeah.
And so then she in turn came back to me and talked to me about becoming the publisher. She had made the decision she was going to retire. She had a very successful career, and she was tired. I'm telling you, running newspapers and she just didn't run the one in Dyersburg. She had them in Missouri and in Arkansas as well. And that's what I was going to be doing.
Okay.
So she offered me that role as publisher. And so I went home and talked to my wife about it. And even though my passion was gone, the money was good. And so I said, well, I'm going to give it a shot, and I'll go to the end of the year and see how I feel. Well, the end of the year came, and I didn't feel any different. Money's great. We all got to have it to live. Yeah. But I wasn't feeling it at all. And so I took a few days off. Johnny and Kathy Hogan reached out to me. I'd been doing a little painting on the side, just some small stuff, and they needed their house painted. And so I painted the interior of their house, and I had a little help, a guy that was helping me at the time I went to church with. And when I got done with his house, Johnny told me, he said, Smitty, if you decide to make the move and go into painting, he said, you've done such a great job on our home. He said, you'll never go hungry. And that hit me.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me. And so I thought, I'm going to give this a shot. And I had people, I had a lot of people that said, Smitty, at your age, I was 54.
Yeah.
You got it made, everything's fine, but they didn't know the back end of the newspaper, of, how things were going. I didn't know if it was going to last with social media and everything going digital. So I left and I started my own business in 2020.
Yeah.
And never looked back.
Yeah. Man, well, there's a whole lot there.
Yeah, there is.
That's
there
a lot.
is.
Okay.
That's all condensed in there
Yeah.
pretty quick.
That's pretty good. But now, if you don't mind, I'll follow you back through that whole story you just laid out. So, you started in the gaming industry, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
Dealing blackjack, dice, and stuff like that. I had no idea about that, and I can honestly say I've never been inside of a casino.
Well, you hadn't missed anything.
The Lord has blessed me, and I've made plenty of money. Thank you, Jesus. But I've never made so much that I'd be ready to gamble any of it.
Yeah,
You know,
that's right.
I have to really pray before I take a calculated risk on like an investment or something. But the only thing I know about the casino is the house always wins.
You know, I try to tell people about casinos. You see these big, pretty places, and they're all nice, and they have all this, you know, all these amenities. Everything's just
Yeah.
top notch. They didn't build those off people winning.
Oh no.
No.
So tell me what that's like to be somebody who works there. You know, surely you'd see some wild stuff. You know.
Well, you'd see what I saw the most of that really bothered me. Probably more than anything was people losing money that they really didn't need to lose.
Yeah.
Some of the saddest stories I have is that when we first opened, people would come in and they gambled, and whether it be slot machines or playing craps or blackjack or whatever, they gambled. They were retired. And after a year or two, or possibly even 3, you'd look up and those people had to go back to work.
Oh crap!
Because they had whatever retirement they had, money they had saved up, and it was all thinking that what started out was fun turned into something that they were constantly chasing their money. I call it being on tilt. They were on tilt because they were chasing to get that money back.
Yeah.
And when you do that, the house has got you.
Yeah.
And it's you saw some seen plenty of sad faces coming out of that place. And like I said, some of the, you know, I don't want to name any names, but a few people I was really close to.
Oh no.
They had to turn around and go back to work. They were set with their retirement for the rest of their life, and that casino drained them. Yeah, that was pretty tough.
You know, addiction, like of all kinds. Like I get drugs make people feel a certain way. It sets their hooks or whatever. You know, and I get addictions to different things. You know, cigarettes or alcohol.
Yeah.
It makes you feel a certain way. But gambling is so strange. It's like that feeling of that you're going to win. And that just gets on people, and it's so sad, you know.
Well, yeah.
I mean, have you seen all the stuff like now? Sports betting big and popular.
Huge.
Like, I don't remember when it exactly became legal, but it wasn't. I don't think it was mainstream. And I'm sure it was probably legal in some states, but it's a mainstream thing now. You know, like I like to watch UFC.
Yeah.
You see all kinds of junk on the cage and the commercial breaks they have, or, you know, sports bets and stuff, and so, man, it is gambling's tough, you know, and I couldn't imagine being in there, especially knowing people, you know. I bet that.
Yeah. Well, not only did I knew people that came in there because there was a lot of people from Dyersburg, of course, that came over. I mean, it's 20 or 25 minutes. But being one who honestly liked to gamble, that was a way, because if you worked there, you couldn't play there. So that was a way that kept me from going over there because I worked there, you know, so I couldn't play, which was a good thing. I've seen some, you know, some really big wins. I've seen people win a lot, but the saddest part is when you see people lose money and you know that they really don't have it to lose, especially if they were elderly or getting on up in years. So I did not like that part of it.
Yeah, well, shoot, I bet that's tough, but... So you were there from, did it start in 90? You said you were 23, 24?
No, that's when my son was born there. I think I was right at 26. I believe it was 1994. That's right, because I was there for 10 years and I left to go to the paper. And at the paper, getting into my family, the Lady Trojan basketball team at Dyersburg High School, that was one of the best teams they'd ever had. I didn't really understand the situation that I had walked into, how good they were. But during that run of 04-05, one of the men that turned out to be one of the best friends I've ever had, Charles Dawson, who does radio for 97.3, we were up in the press box at Dyersburg High School one night in Terry Glover Gymnasium. Actually, it wasn't named that then, but soon it's what it is today. We were in the press box, and I looked over. I told you this is gonna mess with me. I looked over and I saw this woman walking down the bleachers, and I remember leaning down to Dawson, and I said, "Who is that?" You know, and he looked at me and grinned, and he said, "That's Trish." Well, I didn't know Trish, you know, but she had a daughter that played on the basketball team, and that was toward the end of the year when I, you know, really actually noticed her, and we spoke a little bit. And so what I ended up doing, I made sure that, you know, Mallory come into the game, and she was a freshman, and she had a 3-pointer or something. And I said, you know, I want to get this girl's name in the paper, you know, make mama happy. And her dad too, which unfortunate enough, her father was David Murray, and he passed away a few years ago.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
But yeah, he was a good man. But anyway, so she thanked me for putting her name in the paper and all that. So that was kind of a little start to interaction. And the girls won the region championship. I'll never forget it. They played and beat Jackson Northside, and so they were going to state. So, you know, the newspaper, one of the things, like I said, Sheila being supportive of what I was doing, of course I was going. And so we got up there, and Trish and I talked a little bit and got to know each other a little bit up there. And that, you know, that was 21 years ago. We've been together ever since.
Right on.
You know, I kind of, when first night I talked to her, and we were with a big group of friends, and it was a great atmosphere at that time. But I kind of knew after the first time with her, I said, you know, I'm going to marry this woman. And so that's
right on, brother.
That's cool. Kind of how it went. And that come along with Mallory, which is our oldest, and she had a sister, Paige. Paige is married to Blake McWilliams. Okay. From Lauderdale County. Mallory, of course, is married to Tyler Childress. Yeah. And Tyler is our pastor. He's my pastor at Three Oaks Baptist Church. I take a little bit of credit with them because Tyler played football his freshman year. Well, he played, but his freshman year, one of the things the football team did after the regular season was over with, they had a steak dinner. And so you could support a Trojan. And so I picked Tyler Childress. So what you did is you went and picked him up, and we went down, I think it was First Methodist Church. It was a church downtown. Yeah. And Trish and I had only been married for a month or whatever at the time. And something came up about Mallory, and, you know, Tyler he said, man, I wish, you know, you talked to her for me or something like that. So I kind of talked to Mallory, and they ended up going out, and boom, there they are now. They've been married and got 3, you know, just the loves of my life. 3 grandchildren. Kendall's the oldest, Avery, Kate, and Hallie. Yeah. And then my son Adam, that I talked about, the baseball. He's married to Bethany, and they have 5 children, which is Brindley, Mason, Hudson, Adeline. Who am I leaving out? Harrison, I believe. All right. And Paige, she's got our youngest grandson is Bo, and she's got another one on the way. So I'll have 10 here in about 4 or 5 more months.
Papa's got his hands full.
Pop. They call me Pop. Yeah. That coming up with that name, that's another little funny thing. We were trying to think what we were going to be called, and so Pop was easiest. I thought that's one syllable. They'll be able to say that pretty quick.
There you go.
And coming up for a name for her, and I just, you know, I said, what about Lolly and Pop?
Lolly and Pop.
And nobody was doing that. And since we did it, now there's several other Lolly Pop. But wow. Grandchildren, they're very special to me.
Yeah. Well, right on, dude. That's really cool. I could go into some of that stuff. I want to come back to where you transitioned from leaving the casino, going to the paper, and you became a sports editor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what did that look like? Were you having to travel a lot, or was it a lot of local stuff you could do?
I wanted to put as much local stuff, and that's what the paper had been missing.
Yeah.
The guy before me, honestly, was just lazy.
Oh, no.
And, you know, that's one thing about me now that my wife says, and anybody that knows me knows, I'm going to be honest with you from start to finish. You may not like it, but I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
And this guy was lazy. And so I felt like my job was to promote the athletic programs, both Dyersburg and Dyer County, and I wanted to get as many kids' name or pictures in the paper as possible. Those are keepsakes.
Oh,
Put them on the refrigerator.
Oh, yeah.
Grandma and granddaddy get them, stuff like that. So I worked hard. There was a lot of nights that, you know, I come in at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning from doing stuff, because we were a daily paper at the time.
Yeah.
So if it happened on Tuesday, I wanted it in Wednesday's paper.
Yeah.
We didn't wait 3 or 4 days and it was old or anything like that. And of course, like I said, Sheila being so supportive, I mean, she gave me free reign and just trusted me to handle it.
Well, that's really cool. You know, anything like that seems like it would only boost the value of the paper.
Oh,
I mean, whenever you got kids' pictures and their families and stuff are going to be getting it, then they got to get a copy of it. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I can see why that would be such a good business move from their perspective. But it's cool that y'all got hooked up like you did, because you had the passion for it, you had the drive, and they obviously had the need. You know, it's kind of like you walked right into a good spot. You know?
Well, I really did, and it's like I said, when she said, you know, put on your big boy britches and take care of it, I took that to heart. I took that as a challenge, and anybody that knows me now will let you know. I mean, I'm very, very competitive. My biggest hobby is playing golf. I love golf, and that's a competitive sport. I'm not very good at it. You know, I have been lucky enough. I've had 5 holes in one.
Holy smokes!
And that's, you know, like I said, I struggle to break 80, but I have. People do say I'm kind of lucky on some things, and the thing about luck is it always runs out at one time, and I found that out about 8 months ago through a routine physical exam that I do every year, get a physical and get my blood work done. My PSA number come back really high, and so my doctor referred me to a doctor in Memphis to get it checked out. Well, my son-in-law Tyler, he happened to be buddies with a urologist in Jackson, Dr. Peter Lawrence, and so my appointment was like a month and a half away, and he said, "Pop, you want me to call my buddy?" And I don't like asking people for anything. I don't know. I don't like putting people out like that.
I know what you mean.
I thought about it and ended up calling him, and I said, "Man, go ahead and call him." Well, of course, I went to see him and did some more blood work, and sure enough, ended up having a biopsy and a PET scan, and met with him, and he said, "Well, you've got prostate cancer." Right. And man, I tell you, talking about that's one thing, but when a doctor's sitting across from you and he tells you that, you know, you don't know, wow, how bad, and it kind of puts a lot of things into perspective. And so the path chosen was radiation treatments.
Yeah.
And so I went through 28 of those at West Cancer Clinic in Dyersburg. And those people, the staff there, are absolutely awesome. I mean, they're caring, they're very compassionate, treated me very well. It takes about 20 minutes a day. I had to go 5 days a week for about 5 weeks, 5.5, 6 weeks. But after that was over, and I've never felt like that in my life. I was miserable, no energy, just the medicine they had me on. And so during that time, we lived at Lakewood, and we had talked about downsizing. And so I get cancer, and then we find a house that my wife says if we moved, it would have to be the perfect house. So we found it right before I started going through treatments, and made an offer, bought it, and she was doing all the packing and all the I couldn't do anything, you know. But that's where my faith was really tested. But I put it in the hands of the Lord.
Yeah.
And He got me through it. He got me through it.
Amen.
I'm better. I'm better today. Still trying to get some strength back and my weight back and stuff. But man, like I told Tyler, and I call him Tyler. I mean, a lot of people, Brother Tyler, he is our pastor. But
He's your son-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, I had so many people praying for me because people would text me, and this church is praying, that church. I could literally, Stephen, I could feel it. I could feel those prayers, and that helped me tremendously to get through that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one thing we hadn't really talked about through this journey yet, which you're kind of bringing up now. Have you been a Christian all your life? I mean, if your son-in-law is a pastor, he's your pastor, then you obviously go to church. Was there like a journey of faith for you, or was there like a point where you kind of felt like you gave your life to the Lord, or surrendered to Him, or what? How did that go?
That was I was saved in 1978 when I was 12 years old, but I sure didn't live like it. I didn't live like it until really into my late 30s, that I felt like something's going on here. There's a change with the way that I feel about things and stuff like that. And actually, I mean, to be honest with you, it's been really the last 3 or 4 years that I've really, really surrendered myself to the Lord.
Yeah.
And made Him number one. I mean, like I said, I was saved when I was 12, but from 12 to around 30, I didn't live like it. And I'm through the Bible. It talks. You got to let the past go.
You do, yeah.
And that was kind of tough for me because I feel like I did some bad things, not to anybody in general, but to myself. I just made some poor decisions. But now, man, since this cancer thing, something's different about me.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like it a lot. And Tyler from the pulpit, he talks about, it's one of the things that he talks about that more people ought to recognize. And when are we going to stand up for God? I mean, the world, the shape of the world, it's in terrible shape.
Oh, yeah.
We need men. We need men to be leaders of their families and stand up for God and what's right. Like I said, I was a partier. I drank. I haven't drank a drop, and I just quit. It was about, I think it'll be 7 years this August that I just said I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything that happened or anything like that. And I know that I'm better for it.
Yeah.
And my wife feels strong the same way. And that's one of the things about us is, I mean, she is my best friend.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way it needs to be
be
for a marriage to be.
Yeah.
And her faith is strong. And that was the thing about what I didn't tell you about buying the new house. The new house is right next door to our church.
No kidding.
I mean, no, it's right.
So you
next
live
door.
You live on what is that? Rest on
Rest
Road?
on
Yeah,
Road.
yeah, okay.
And I
I
said,
know where to find you now.
Yeah, that's right. I wanted to get close to the Lord. I don't know if I can get any closer than right next door to the church.
Yeah.
But we are heavily involved in our church. Man, my church family is it's absolutely, whew. When I went through what I went through, man, they were there for me. And so you find out that you got to separate yourselves from a lot of the people that you had in your past because they live the way of the world. And
Yeah.
I love them. I always love them.
Yeah,
But I had
absolutely.
to walk away from some relationships because of the way that they choose to live.
Yeah.
And I want to live a certain way. I want
Yeah.
to live for the Lord, and I'm going to live for the Lord. And
Amen.
if you're not following, if we're not on the same path, I probably don't need to be around you.
Yeah.
I like to witness to them and talk to them about Jesus, but if they want to continue to live like that, then that's their choice. Like I said, I'll love you forever, but I'm not going to be around that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's a difficult move for people to make for whatever reason. It's really hard for folks if they, come to the faith, they begin to be a believer and, their circle of friends don't, see things the way they do, it's so much easier for them to get pulled back into, living like they don't need to live instead of fully committing to God, even though the Lord's dealing with them. One of my favorite sayings, I can't remember who said this, but he said, if you want to see which direction you're going, you don't have to look any further than your 5 closest friends. He said, are your 5 closest friends, are they drunks? Then you'll be the 6th.
That's
and
right.
are they wealthy? You'll be the 6th. Are they idiots? You'll be the 6th.
Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't matter. Just whoever your friends are, it's weird. You want to believe in yourself that you're stronger than whatever people may be around you. But I mean, honestly, you can't. You can choose your friends. You can choose that circle, and they're either going to be pulling you in the right direction or in the wrong direction.
That's exactly
And
right.
so, I mean, I will say, like, I came to the faith when I was young. I was 14. And I've never, I've done my best to live for the Lord. God knows I've made mistakes, but I have strived and I've done my best, the best I could. And that was hard at the time, when you're a kid like that. A lot of people get saved at an early age.
Yeah.
And then they grow up a little bit. And I mean, the temptation for sin is there, and there's the, youthfulness of it. You just want to go make mistakes, have fun, whatever. And I mean, that's pretty much what my crowd was. And then I had to it was hard for me to try to separate myself. I mean, I did. I had good friends at church that really helped me through that, but it is difficult, especially if that's all your friends. You feel like you're going to be alone or something. But I will say that for whatever friends I may have lost, and I say it like that because if they're your friends, if they're your real friends, and you come to God, then they're going to respect that, and they're going to admire that.
Right.
Like they're going to still like you. You know.
Yeah.
But if you come to the Lord and then they all of a sudden don't hate, they don't like you and they almost hate you, it's like, were they really your friends? Because like you said, there's people that don't live in any way that I condone. They drink, party, live wild.
Right.
I would not put them down the road for nothing.
Right.
I love them, support them, wish them the best, and I'm going to greet them and be nice to them just like I would if we were, friends. But a lot of times folks will see someone starting out in church, and it's almost like they discourage it or something,
Well, I do know, and we have gone. We first were members at Three Oaks Baptist Church, and when we first came back there around 3 years ago, the youth in our church were my granddaughters. That was really the youth. Something had gone on there, and the church went from way up to way down, and I really don't want to get into any of that, but that was the youth group. But I told Tyler, we were sitting on the front pew one day when he had made the decision to actually become associate pastor at the time. Brother Bill Phipps, who started that church and had been there forever.
Brother Bill.
Brother Bill was the pastor. And Tyler, the plan was for Tyler to take over after a year or so, which all that come to fruition. But Tyler and I were sitting on the front pew one day, and I told him, I said, you keep doing what you're doing, and we're going to look up here in a year or so, and we're going to have 200 people. I told him, we're going to have 200 people in here. And we laughed about it. I told him, I said, we're going to look back, and we're going to laugh at this conversation. And I'll tell you today, and it's a testament to God and how he's moving in our church, that we are between 160 to 200 every Sunday morning.
Praise the Lord. That's good.
Man, that is awesome. And that youth group that started off really with my 3 granddaughters, we've done a kickoff where we had this thing on Wednesday night for kids where they play games and they also get taught the word and all that. We just started that. And I think the first Wednesday we did it, there was almost 40 kids there.
Wow!
And so
somebody's got their hands full of that.
Look, they do. That's Brother Eddie Blanchard and
bless his heart.
They've taken on that role and doing a great job. And we're going through renovations right now where we're getting new carpet, getting our pews reupholstered and stuff like that. But it is a blessing. It's an absolute blessing. And what I found out, a couple of things, what you said about you'd be the 6th one. My dad told me a long time ago, when you get to be the age I am now, I'm 59, I'll be 60 in July, God willing, that if you can count on one hand your true friends, I'm talking about somebody you can call at 4 o'clock in the morning and they'll say, I'll be right there.
Yeah.
You're a lucky man.
Oh, yeah.
And so I feel like I know I've got that 5,
There you go.
and I go to church with every one of them. That's who I can count on.
Yeah.
And I think that gives a man some peace.
Yeah.
And my family is of course my family, who we are a tight knit group. We do a lot of stuff together. But my friends are my church family.
That's right.
And I feel great about that. I'm blessed to have such wonderful friends.
Amen. Well, that's good. That's what it's supposed to be about.
Yeah.
That's it is a thing though. People be raised in church, and a lot of churches now. This isn't true of all of them, so I'm not trying to make a blanket statement here, but for a lot of people, it is like it's an older crowd. It's an older bunch of people.
Yeah.
But you need the church all the way through your life, I think. You need that circle. You need those friends. You need those people who are trying to pull you in the right direction all your life. Not just, when you get to be retired or something,
No, and I'll tell you, you show me a church that doesn't have a youth group, because they are the future.
Mm-hmm.
A church without a youth group is a dying church.
Amen.
I mean, because as people get older and they begin to pass away, if you don't have somebody coming up to take their place and to have a voice in the church and to glorify God,
Amen.
then your church is going to die.
Yeah.
And with ours, we are so blessed. And Tyler, we talk about this all the time. We love to hear the pitter-patter of feet run across when it's time to go across the floor, when it's time to go to children's church.
Yeah.
And these kids are happy.
Oh, yeah.
And they're being taught the right way and the right things. And man, I'm so proud of our group of leaders at Three Oaks Baptist Church.
Yeah, man, it's ain't nothing like it. You don't know this, but I'm a Sunday school teacher at our church, the adult Sunday school class, and I help my pastor. He's 88 years old, Brother Calvin Smith. He's great. I've been going to church there 15 years. Met my wife there, got married there, had our kids there.
Good.
We started doing the youth group, been a little over 3 years ago. Maybe it's been longer than that now. We might be going on 4 years, but yeah, similar thing. When we started, it was very few. I think we had 3 kids and 2 of them are mine.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
We consistently run 20 something. If they're all there, it's 30.
Yeah.
And so when we
That's
turn loose on Sunday morning, let the kids go to Sunday school, it is a bright spot in the service. You know what I mean? Like to see all these kids going to Sunday school, they're all happy. They come back happy, and it's just. It gives good perspective, on everything, to see that next generation coming up, and you have to be investing in them. Churches need young families. They need young parents. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? A lot of what you have is people bring their grandkids too, which bring them. By all means, bring them.
Absolutely.
But we need every generation. The gospel ain't just for, one generation or generations ago. I hear stories all the time about what God did back whenever.
Right. Yeah.
But we need the Lord for the children. We need the Lord for the teenagers. We need the Lord for the young adults who are getting married and starting families. We need the Lord for folks that's middle-aged. Everybody. I mean, it is, I don't know, I'm passionate about it. I mean, because it's made a difference in my life. I will tell you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I know that faith in God and the Lord being good to me and giving me grace is just, I would not be where I am today without Him. And people probably get sick of hearing me talk about it. I don't try to push my religion down nobody's throat. I don't think you can compel anybody into believing like you believe. I think that's just the wrong way to go about it. You got to show them love. You got to show them kindness. You need to let them know what you believe. Don't be ashamed. But you also can't force them into thinking the way you think. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, it doesn't. And like you said, you can witness to somebody. And one of the things that, that I ask people, I pretty much know the answer, but if you took your last breath, you're going to go 1 or 2 places.
That's right.
Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
I mean, we all are going to face that judgment day. And, if you don't know where you're going, chances are I know where you're going. Ooh. If you don't know.
Yeah.
And you can get on the right path. It's not that hard to do.
No, it's not.
But we need more people. And I believe this with my whole heart. We need more people standing up for God.
Amen.
And the world that we're living in today is terrible.
Amen.
And I think about my grandchildren. I think about your
children.
Oh, yeah. What are they going to face? The problems they're going to face when they get to be your age. that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow when
It
you
is.
think about that.
Yeah.
That's tough. So what we're doing is we're trying to prepare them that God will always be the most important thing in their life. That
Yeah.
when they do get our age, they get up in age, they've got that instilled in them, and they can pass that on to their children and their children to their children, and it just keeps going.
Yeah. Man, that's good. Well, that's fantastic. So I guess I need to circle back to, so you became sports editor.
Yeah,
You did that for about 10 years.
10 years.
Loved it.
Loved it, absolutely. If they would have left me alone and the money would have been right,
You'd have been all right.
I would have been all right. But I also, going back to God's hand and everything, I think I was led to the path to where I got today. Everything happens for a reason,
Yeah,
you know. And even though I was saved in 1978, I know I'm going to heaven. I wasn't living like it. I don't know what my life would be like right now if I was still a sports editor. I don't think I would be. I know I wouldn't be near as happy as I am right now.
Really?
I don't think I would. I hate it for the people that. Man, I had so many people so appreciative of, you know, that one time of getting their kid's picture in the paper or their name in the paper. And I felt the love from them. I mean, but it became a struggle because in journalism, especially print media, it's driven by advertising sales.
Yes.
So most of all your advertising now is digital, or it's on the internet. And when you try to explain to a business how many impressions they're going to get a month, and I'm getting in the weeds with it now.
No,
it's hard for them to
Yeah.
understand that, you know, your ad's going to pop up 30,000 times in a month, you know, and so this is why it's this much money, as opposed to in print, they actually see it, and then they want to know your circulation numbers and how many people are subscribing to your paper, and you try to make it, you know, make sense to them. And one of the things that hit us was we got down to where when I first started, we had myself as a sports editor, we had a photographer, and we had what's called a paginator. A paginator actually is the one that lays out the whole paper.
Okay.
By the time I left sports, it was just me. I wrote the stories, I took the pictures, and I paginated the pages. So that was what made it, you know, tough, I guess, was doing everything and not having any help.
See, that's the business side of journalism, because it's got to make money, you know.
Got to.
And that's, I mean, everything's going digital. I mean, Facebook has took the place of a local paper. It just has. And so, I mean, I don't know how, like, a local newspaper would even try to combat that. You know what I mean?
Well, the only way that you can do it is kind of like just what you said. So let's say that there's a ball game this afternoon. People want to read about a ball game that ends at 6 o'clock this evening. They want to be able to read about it by 7.
Yeah.
Immediate.
Yeah.
Where a newspaper, it's at least going to be tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening before that comes out. People don't want to wait on that. They're used to the digital area now to where, like I said, when the ball game's over, they want to be able to read a full, and you can.
Yeah.
You can now. I mean, watch any game. Within an hour, you can read the whole story on that game on the internet.
Yeah.
That's hard to compete with.
Oh, it is.
It's really hard to compete with. And I don't even know, honestly, I don't even know if the state Gazette still has a paper here. I haven't looked at it in forever, but I still get people that talk to me about it in a negative way, you know, even though I'm not there anymore. And some of that is, you know, man, I wish you were still down there. And that still makes me feel good to hear that from people because we worked extremely hard to put out the best product we could.
Yeah. Wow. So, you were there. So from 2004 to 2014ish, you were the sports editor, and you were a publisher and editor after that, or editor?
I went to editor, and then from editor to managing editor, and all that really is a title. I mean, you know, a little bit more money. And then to publisher until 2020. So
you got to see, you were there pre-Facebook, or maybe Facebook had just come out.
Right.
It didn't really become mainstream. I wouldn't say Facebook did till 2011, 2012.
Right.
Was there a point where, when you were still working at the paper, where y'all were like, we see the writing on the wall here? You know what I mean? Or was everybody just trying to hold on and make as much money as possible till the end?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
We definitely saw the writing on the wall that the digital world, that's the way we needed to go.
Yeah.
The hard part was selling the advertising.
Yeah.
That became difficult because, excuse me, you had people they've got digital boards, you know, a billboard out there used to, you put it up and it'd stay on there a month and they'd change it or whatever. Now they've got digital boards that they can just run ad after ad after ad. You had to compete with that. You also had to compete with, I'm just going to use Dyersburg High School as an example. You know, they sell sponsorships for their jumbotrons, and you can get your name on there during football games, basketball games. We had to compete with that. That's competition.
Yeah.
I mean, before jumbotrons and stuff like that, we never had to worry about anything like that. But it was, you know, we weren't in competition with another paper.
Yeah.
The Jackson Sun was really our closest one, and we didn't feel like we were in competition because we were better.
Yeah.
That's when it came down to local. Whether it be sports or news.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We felt like we were better.
Yeah.
We had our hand on the pulse of the community. But the digital age taking over and people getting out of reading the paper, the people, unfortunate to see us, and I love elderly people. I mean, I absolutely love them. But those were the ones, the 65 to 80, that they wanted to physically hold the paper. You get below 60, and people want to be able to punch it on the internet and read it right away. And people would get upset because it took so long for us to get it out there. And it wasn't so much that it took us so long, but when you could read something 30 minutes after it was over, and you had 4 or 5 games that you're trying to compile those stories, that takes a little bit of time to get it up. We would put a little snippet, little synopsis on there, who won, and, you know, full story to come later. But that's really all we could do at the time. And plus, the revenue was going down. Of course, COVID hit. That didn't help anything. But another thing that was really difficult, it's in my business today that I'm finding difficult, is finding people that want to work. I do not understand, and my wife talked about this a lot. I don't understand how people make it.
I don't either.
I mean, you can offer somebody $18 to $20 an hour right now, and they want more.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember when I first started painting for somebody, I made $12 an hour, and I thought I was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Now you offer them with no experience. You offer them 15 or 16, they won't even show up to work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
I don't know how they make it either. I mean, I work like a dog, which I live good. I mean, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, which some of it is a lot of what I do, and painting too. You know, it's skilled labor.
Absolutely.
It is. There, if you don't think there's anything to painting, please go to Sherwin-Williams and buy your own material and do it yourself, because painting sucks. You know, and it's easy to make a mess, and not if you don't know what you're doing, it can turn out really bad. So, you know, even something my wife's all the time like, I'm gonna paint this, I'm gonna do this. Oh Lord, she's gonna get on to me now.
Yeah.
Seriously, like there's more to it. You can really make a mess, and even, you know, painting is skilled, and the rest of the skilled trades. I mean, it is hard.
It is hard, and the painting. What we do is number one, show up when you're supposed to.
That's right.
When you tell a customer you're going to, and if you can't, by all means, communicate with them, because things do happen.
Yep.
From start to finish, we do the very best job that you're going to find. We from prepping, I mean, putting spackle in walls to caulking baseboards to whatever. My group does it. They know what way I want it done, and that's what they do. And I haven't had anybody yet that's been unhappy. I don't ever want to say that, because I'll bend over backwards. I'll do everything I can do to make sure you're happy. But we are human. Something may get missed, the side of a door or something like that. The difference in us and maybe some other people is that if you call me, number one, I'm going to answer the phone. Number two, we're going to be there within a day to take care of whatever was messed up or whatever. So I haven't had very many problems at all in that regard. My biggest issue is finding people to work.
Yeah.
And I've got a crew now that I'm very proud of. They work hard, and I try to keep it Monday through Friday and right at 40 hours a week, and we can get a lot done. But, yes, painting is skill. You have to know where to start and how to do it. It's, some people, I have had people to call me that they started to do it themselves. And they got about a wall done, and they said, I don't know,
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, there's projects you can do. You can paint your own bathroom, and anybody can get a pressure washer and go out and pressure wash the sidewalk. But if you want it done the right way and for it to look good, that's where I come in, or my little company comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, man, you tape off everything, you put plastic up and all that, you don't
No, we use drop cloths. I mean, on anything. I don't care, because you're going to have spillage and stuff like that. Every now and then we may use tape if it's something that requires that we should. But I like to think that we're professionals, and we don't have to do that.
Well, my guy that I use all the time, he's family of mine, Mike Hips. I don't know if you ever crossed paths with Mike or not. He worked for Wade Jackson for years.
Yeah.
Shout out Wade Jackson.
Yeah.
Really like Mike. He's married to my mom's first cousin, and he's just like a machine, man. It doesn't matter if it's a plug outlet, the window casing. He's just like, and no tape or anything.
That's
and I'm
right.
like, how do you do that? I don't know if I haven't painted enough, or I got a little shape to me or something, but I can't do it.
Well, it just takes gaining experience and repetition of doing something. It's rare that I've had somebody to come in. I have had a couple now that they know what they're doing, and I love to see that. You love to, because I'm running a lot. And you want to be able to leave and trust that it's getting done right.
That's right.
And you brought up Wade Jackson. Wade's been a friend of mine for probably 40 years, man. I love Wade to death. And there's another one that he glorifies God, what he does, and he's got a story to tell, But I love Wade, and he's been very successful, and that's like I tell anybody, I'm not in competition with anybody. I want everybody to win.
That's right.
I really do. If you do things the right way, there's enough room for all of us out there.
Oh yeah, there's enough work out there for everybody.
Absolutely.
I remember the first video I did. You asked me how many I'd done. I think I'm up to 10. I'm not sure, but it was Eugene Smith. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
But at some point in that, I was talking about how I made the leap to construction. I was a steel mill electrician.
Right.
I flipped a house, did it myself. As far as the work, I did most of it myself, and hired some things done that I just couldn't do by myself. But the gutting, the flooring, some of the trim, the electrical, every bit of the electrical, the plumbing was all me. Tile work, putting in full kitchen remodel. I did all that, and when I got done, flipped the first house, I was like, well, am I going to be able to make it, because you always wonder when you're about to make the leap, like you did the painting, will it be enough to keep you satisfied? And, man, I said in that video that there has been more than enough work for somebody willing to get out there and get it.
Yeah.
There's plenty of work for everybody. Right. It ain't like I'm going to win and everybody else is going to lose, or somebody else is going to win and I'm going to lose.
Right.
If you get out there and just hustle and you're honest and you do your best to keep your word, and where you make a mistake, admit it and make it right.
That's right.
Then you're already top tier. You know what I mean?
100%.
So, and I found that there is more than enough work. I caught some hate for that, because I guess some guys ain't got it out there, but I'm blessed. Obviously, you've been blessed. Other guys have.
Listen, I tell you, I've been so blessed. Johnny Hogan was right, and when I see him, I tell him, I haven't gone hungry. I haven't had to advertise. Word of mouth means everything.
Yes, it does.
And another thing that's helped me, you mentioned everything you did. Like my son Adam, he's a supervisor at Nucor.
Okay.
And what he works 4 on 4 off, and that's 12 hours, 48 hours. He does.
Oh yeah.
His daddy, he didn't get that from his daddy, because I'm not a factory worker, but bless him for it. But one of the things that my life now has taught me about the painting is I have got to know the best electrician, the best plumbers. So when I need something done,
that's right.
We recently just had a flood at our house, and I knew everybody to call.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was Jason Harper.
Yeah.
Jason and I have been friends for over 40 years. And I'm telling you, when I say that I made one call and that's all. It sounds like a Corey B. Trotz commercial, but it's the honest to God truth. I mean, he has taken care of every single thing that needed to be done. And, you know, when you have friends like that, that's what I'm talking about, the friends in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
First time I called him, he told me, he said, Bubba, he said, you don't worry about it, brother. He said, I'm going to take care of you. We haven't worried about anything.
Yeah.
And people like that are in the trade, Jason's kind of on the upper scale. He's got so much that he does.
Yeah.
But he's been a blessing. He's been a blessing to me. And so I've learned who to call when you need something done. Somebody does good work. And I've seen people, unfortunately, that don't do so good work. And they're still making money. They're still having work. So, it goes both ways.
Yeah. It does, huh? So I went to a job today to look at someone. A friend of mine called me in just a bad situation. Somebody burned them. Guy worked did a significant portion of the work, did great, got paid, got to a certain area, and then whenever he got there, he got paid in advance. He took the money, hit the breeze. And they called me asking if I'd come help. I went and looked at it. So it's you do have to watch who you're messing with.
Well, you do, and another thing that I like to do. One of the things I'm most proud of about living in Dyersburg and Dyer County is when people face tragedy, whether it be a fire, whether it be a death, something bad happens, how we rally together to support those people. And we're going through something right now with the death of Scott French. I've known Scott for, again, 40 years.
Really?
I wasn't close to Scott. I say that I didn't talk to him all the time, but he was a friend. He was a businessman. Cindy, his wife, our birthday's on the same day. I've known her for forever. And one of the first things that I wanted to do was help him. And it turned out, when I called her sister Pam, who's the mayor of New Bern, and said, I'd like to help if there's anything I could do. She told me about Brother Roy Lee Rainey, that he's a pastor. That he's doing some work, and that kind of put him and I together. So things like that, God moved, man, those things aren't just coincidences.
That's right.
I don't believe that. I believe it's kind of a meant to be. And rest in peace to Scott French. I'm very sorry to Cindy and the rest of the family. But things like that, I think you need to give back to the community, especially when you've been blessed the way we have, certainly the way I have. I want to help. That's what I want to do.
You've got to. There was a time where I couldn't even hardly help myself. You know what I mean?
Too. Yeah.
And so if God's blessed you where you're able to, I think you have a responsibility from God. You have to help people in need.
Absolutely.
I was at church the other night, and the pastor brought something out. He was talking about the story of the rich man Lazarus. You know the story out of the Bible. I think it's Luke chapter 16.
Right.
It says the rich man fared sumptuously every day, had need of nothing, and there was a beggar named Lazarus who laid at his gates, desiring to eat crumbs that fell from the rich man's table. And it said that the dogs came and licked Lazarus' wounds. He's in pitiful shape.
Right.
It never says he got a bite to eat. It never says the rich man helped him the first time. And when Lazarus died, he was carried by the angels to heaven. And when the rich man died in hell, he lifted up his eyes. And the brother said, it never says that he was a sinner. It doesn't talk about anything that the rich man done wrong, except he saw a man who he could have helped. He could have helped him every time he walked by.
That's
right.
He
never helped
him.
He
chose not to.
And I tell you, sometimes you think drinking, smoking, cussing will send you to hell. Well, I hope it don't. You know what I mean? But I do think we need to live right. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, I think God wants his people to live right. But that being said, I don't care if you don't drink. I don't care if you don't cuss, or whatever you don't do. If you don't help your brother who's in need, you don't have God's love in your heart. You ain't gonna make it.
Well,
I don't think you are.
I think that it helps you tremendously. One of the things that Tyler has talked about is, he posed this question one night, and him and I are very, very close. But he posed this question, what have you done in your life that you did just for God? Not for money, not for anything. Because when we get to heaven, we're all going to have crowns. It's just how many jewels is it going to have in it? How many have you earned down here? Well, that really got me to thinking. And I realized I really didn't have a list I mean, I really didn't have a list of things I just done
Yeah.
for God. So I've been over at that church.
Getting busy,
And
huh?
I have painted and I've cleaned and I've done
Uh-huh.
anything that they've asked me to do because I'm trying to get jewels for my crown, brother.
Have you ever heard that joke? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But there's hymnals. Do y'all have hymnals at church? Okay. Well, sometimes you flip through the hymnals and there'll be two songs on there that go together, and it's funny. And there's one where a buddy told me that it's a Baptist hymnal, so pick on the Baptist a little bit. Hope they don't mind. But it said on one page it was, "Will there be any stars in my crown?" And on the other page, "No, not one."
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, the judgment seat of Christ. I don't mean to keep talking, I hope I ain't boring you. I hope I ain't boring whoever's
not
going
at
to watch
all.
this. But the judgment seat of Christ, it's where the saints are going to go stand before the Lord and be judged. If you didn't know it, you're going to be judged no matter what, whether you're right with God or, you'll stand in that judgment, or if you're not right with God, you'll stand at the end in what the Bible calls the great white throne judgment. The saints will be at the judgment seat of Christ. And there it says that every man's works will be tried as by fire, as how Paul put it. It's in Corinthians. Of what sort that your works were, whether they really mattered or not. He said every man's works will either be like wood, hay, and stubble, and they'll burn up. All the stuff that they had going on was just fluff. It didn't amount to nothing.
It didn't amount to nothing.
Or it'll be gold, silver, and precious stones. And in that day, you think about the biggest, flashiest, most outspoken people. You think, man, they're really doing something for God. But I imagine the most precious people to the Lord probably don't nobody even know their names.
That's exactly. I couldn't have said that better.
So
that's right.
Man, it's and we got a lot of good people like that here too.
We do.
That's what I like about doing this, about getting more involved in politics and whatnot.
Yeah.
There are good people everywhere. And, if all you do is get on Facebook and listen to everybody complain, you wouldn't believe it,
No, that's
But
right.
if you actually get out in the community, meet people, talk to people, there are some genuine, good folks that live here. And they'll help somebody when they're in trouble. And they'll do anything they can to help someone. And so that means a whole lot,
It really does. People like that, like you said, there's more out there than what you know. That are willing to step up. And I can think right now, I could just go through my Rolodex in my phone and just hit a name if I needed something, and I know they would be there.
That's right.
That's a good feeling.
That's right. It is a good feeling. So, man, well, I tell you what we can segue into, since I kind of brought up, getting more involved in politics and whatnot. So you become a painter after, working at the State Gazette for all them years. And I still cannot get over that at the age of, how old were you, 50-something?
50, I was right at 50 years old.
God have mercy. Painting's hard, man.
Oh, well, I was actually 50. I was 54.
54?
And I make the joke, I'm a big Dr. Pepper drinker.
Yeah.
Most people have coffee, and the president of the company that I work for at the paper, Russ Publications or whatever, he kind of said, you're too old to get out there and to start this at this age. And I said, hold my Dr. Pepper. And I got a little cockiness to. I mean, I think every man's got an ego a little bit. I think you need to, be confident in your
you have to,
abilities.
yeah.
And so
If you don't believe in yourself, ain't nobody else going
Nobody
to.
else.
So you got to have a little bit of confidence.
So I jumped out there and got into that, and that's kind of where the political come from. A friend of mine, Chuck Asa, he was going to do the election results, and he called because of my newspaper background and asked me to help him for one, and that's turned into where we are now, where we've done the last 3 or 4, I think, and we get a kick out of it. And the Anita Foulkes and the people at the Dyersburg Election Commission, they've been great to us. And, I know they have these watch parties, and people have us tuned in and watching.
I was watching.
Watching
I was watching
the
in May.
results,
Yeah,
and
May.
Chuck and I get a kick out of that. This election we just had, the Republican primary, that was probably watched more than any we've had in the past, just because you had all the races and they were contested, and there was a huge flip that went on there. One of my closest friends, that's the thing about being in Dyersburg and you do election results, you're supposed to be, I guess, to a degree, non-biased.
Yeah, you clearly were not.
Well, I clearly wasn't, and I dude, like I said, I think I told you on the phone, you know, Steve North, I mean, he's become like a big brother to me, man. I love him to death, and I really, really wanted him to win that seat.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just because of how much I care about Steve. It was because of his knowledge and his education and everything that I know he brings to the table to help us get out of some of the messes that we're in. We've got a beautiful county, man. I mean,
Absolutely.
We're in great shape as far. Yeah, we're blessed, but we needed some changes made, and the people agreed with that in the primary. But yeah, I kind of took a little bit. Said you wasn't hiding your love for Steve there, and I said no, I sure was.
I didn't endorse anybody because in an effort to remain unbiased, right? I endorse Steve North. I don't care. I mean, see, I've been knowing Mr. Steve since I was a little kid. He farmed around Heloise and you know on 104. My grandfather farmed at Chick. Obviously, that's where we're at right now. And so every once in a while, we'd get to go to Everest Lake Grocery.
Yeah.
We go up there and eat a cheeseburger, you know, and in comes Mr. Steve, and his hair was dark then. He was a little thinner. I remember, you know. And, so I've been knowing Mr. Steve all my life, and, you know, there's all kinds of people, but he was always humble, hardworking, you know, and those are things that you can't fake. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just either have that or you don't. And besides just that, you know, I saw through the years, like with the big meeting they had that he and others spoke at over the tax increase, I seen that, you know, he's not only is he passionate, he's well spoken. You know, he presents really well. That's worth something too.
He's very well spoken, and Steve and I we share some of the same hobbies, and that's allowed me to get to know him on a different level. We love talking about our grandkids, and having a conversation with Steve. You know, I see he's intelligent, and like you said, he's well spoken. And when he tells you he does research, buddy, let me tell you, man, Steve North, if he researches something, he's getting all the way in to whatever he's looking at. And if he sees a problem, and God bless him for it, he's not afraid to say, here's the problem right here. That rubs some people the wrong way. And I don't understand. I'm still having trouble understanding, why are you upset when the man's just telling the truth? Yeah. And I promise you, he's going to be a blessing to that county board for years, however how long I tried to get him to run for mayor. Before he I did. He'll tell you that.
Oh, wow.
And he said, he didn't want to do that, but I tried to get him. We needed strong leadership, and I think with Eric Maupin now, we're going to have that. We're going to have, now, he hasn't won anything, and no disrespect to Jerry Brock, who we had a little bit of miscommunication there about a month or two ago, and I think a lot of Jerry, but I'm saying if Eric does win, I really haven't heard, other than watching Jerry on your spot. I just heard a lot about Eric, and I know what Eric's about. But I think that we're headed in the right direction. And that was the thing too with David Quick. Man, I love Beatty. I have for a long time, but
I like him too.
I felt like he was just going to have trouble getting along with the board. And that's what I saw the last, several years. He was facing some uphill battles, and we need somebody that's going to unify. And I see that coming. That's where I'm at. I see that coming.
Yeah, well, that's one reason why I wanted to have him on. I try to hear all sides of it. It is very hard to pin people down and get them to talk for an hour and a half.
Right.
And you can bull crap for 5 minutes.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? Or 10, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. You really got to be a master to go an hour and a half.
That's right.
And I wanted to, have him on and bring out, there was a narrative, and when I had Eric Maupin on, I told him this is part of what you're going to have to overcome, is that he's been stonewalled all along the way.
Yeah.
And I said, whether or not that's true, that's a story that's been told.
That's right.
And that's what you have to overcome, which he obviously did. But it was so interesting to talk to Mr. David and hear him talk about, stuff with like the nuisance property resolution and facing backlash over that. I'm like, that is a petty thing to be catching flack over. I don't get it. I still don't get that.
Yeah.
But I do believe that he did have an uphill climb. I commend him for what he has done. I saw last night, I think it was on Facebook, or my wife was telling me about it, about an emergency grant that DSCUD is supposedly being awarded for $4.3 million.
Yep.
Thank you, because we need it very badly.
We do.
I know we're not the only water district that's in trouble, but I know people who have that water every day who have terrible problems every day.
Yeah.
He talked about his accomplishments a lot, things that he'd done. I thank him for what he did do, but we are going in a different direction. It's going to be between Eric and Jerry, and I had Jerry on, and really it was nice listening to him talk. He was seeing things from a completely different perspective than what was going on between David and Eric.
Right.
And, Jerry brings some interesting things to the table that I had never even really thought about. I knew that he worked for, the water system for years. Funny story, I was going to bring it up when I interviewed him. He cut my water off on me one time. When I first moved into my house, they bill like 2 months behind or something from the date that you move in and get it turned on. And so, I didn't get my bill in the mail after 2 months, and I forgot about it. He came up there and cut it off. The water ain't running. I look outside. Jerry's jumping in the truck, driving off. I'm like, there you go. So, anyways, I know that he obviously has expertise in that.
Yeah.
That is valuable to me. I ain't going to sit here in a lie and say that it's not. It is very, very valuable, because the SCUD ain't the only hurting rural water system.
Right.
There's others in the county. And so he brings some knowledge from his background in that I think would be very useful, very valuable. And at the very least, that he ought to, whatever happens there, that his input is very, very valuable to me. So that, and then he was talking about the retail side of things too, like when David and Eric both spoke in their prospective interviews, they both talked about bringing industry to town, how they believe that would up revenues. And that's the challenge that we face, is how can we make more money without having the, common taxpayer, everybody paying for it, increasing tax rates. Nobody wants to pay more taxes, but how can you up that revenue? And they were talking about industry, and Jerry brought out retail and sales tax from retail, which is interesting, and it was a really good talk. So, I'm, either way, I'm optimistic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that, this goes back to even the sheriff's race to Grant Montgomery and Jim Joyner. I like them both, and I think that
I do too.
Jim has got, even though he was, soundly defeated, I wish they could work together. Now, I've talked to him since then, and he told me that he was done. He was going to retire, and that's fine. But just like in this mayor's race, if Eric wins, I hope that he will listen to Jerry, and maybe Jerry can bring some of his ideas, and Eric will, and I think he will. Yeah. A lot of these races, you had good people running against each other. It wasn't good versus bad, and you can learn if you don't feel like you can learn from another man. Well, you're behind already because somebody could have some really good ideas, and I think Jerry has some. So we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, but it was all the races were pretty decisive, Yeah, that was. People asked me, "Were you shocked by the outcomes?" And no, I wasn't. I was shocked by the margin of victory, really? Not the outcomes. I kind of felt like most of them would go the way they did, but I was shocked at the margins. Well, I'll say I like the concerned citizens. I like that they speak up. I like how active they are. That's nice. It's refreshing. It surprised me that they won every race except one. I think that they, that's a doggone. That is. Hey, listen. I didn't think they were that powerful. Is all I'm trying to say. Yeah. Not only did they talk the talk, they walk the walk. Yeah. I mean, they got out on the streets and they hit these doors, and that's what you got to do. You got to go see people. And you got to talk to them. And now, they were fortunate enough to win, like you said, all the seats but one. Now you've got to stand up and fulfill what you told the people you would do. Yeah. And I think that they're going to find out. They're friends of mine. I think they're going to find out that government moves at a much slower pace than what you think it is. So these changes, they're not going to happen overnight. No. It's going to take time. But if you get everybody on the same page, and I feel very strongly about this, if you get the county commission working with the mayor, as opposed to every time the mayor comes up with an idea, you stonewall him, you go butt heads with each other. If we're all pulling on the same end of the rope, we're going to get a lot more accomplished. Yeah. As opposed to always having battles up there at the CLB meetings, you're not on the same page.
Yeah.
And I think with the group that we've got now on the county commission, and we'll see with the mayor's race, I think you're going to see everybody pulling on the same end of the rope, and Dyer County citizens are going to benefit from that.
Well, I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to see that infighting, that bickering. I mean, we all want the same thing.
Ultimately,
What I want Dyer County to be safer and more prosperous and well served.
That's right.
You know, that we all want that.
Yep.
As far as how to, you know, come to the end of that, the means to the end is where it gets, you know, kind of difficult to figure out the path to take.
Right.
But, you know, we ought to all be able to unite behind that. And so, you know, that's one thing that with some of the people that got beat that I didn't understand was whenever these concerns were brought up by the concerned citizens, you know, or whoever, their opponents, why would you not try to meet them in middle ground or go to their level or something? It didn't seem like there was a whole lot of that, you know, and maybe it was, and I just am not privy to it, but I don't know. It just seemed like it was kind of like a PR nightmare. Even if they were doing everything like they were supposed to be and giving them the benefit of the doubt, I believe that they were doing their best, then you could have communicated that a little bit better and maybe have appeased some of the concerned citizen types.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, you could have, and I think in some of those races, I know for a fact what happened in a couple of them, the incumbents didn't work it. They didn't work hard because they felt like the opponent couldn't beat them.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think Chris Young, he saw that 4 years ago against David Quick.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some people, and look, like I said, man, being honest, you know, it's a great thing, but it stings some people sometimes. And I think Chris would sit here today and tell you that he didn't work hard enough against David Quick and didn't think he could beat him, and then he did.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to get out, and people, they want you to knock on their door and they want to talk to you and see what you're about. And you can't just win because you've been in there for a long time.
That's right.
Those days are long gone now with social media.
Yeah.
And the Concerned Citizens Group, they got out and they worked. They worked to earn a spot on that board.
That's
and
right.
you see the results of their hard work. I mean, that to me, that's what happened.
Yeah. I know a guy, and he was an incumbent who lost the race. And he said, "I'm unbeatable." I said, "Woo, boy, that's arrogance, you know."
That's arrogance.
Pride goes before a fall, brother, you know, and he ended up losing.
And it come back to bite him. And I know exactly who you're talking about. And I don't think you can ever go in today's age, you can't ever go into an election cycle and think you don't have to work as hard because there's no way he or she can beat me.
Yeah.
Then you're going to find yourself on election night saying, I should have worked harder.
Yeah.
And you're going to get proven wrong that, you are unbeatable, and now you're going to be sitting at the house.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, you know, I am excited about, you know, the direction that things are going in.
Yeah.
I hope that the concerned citizen, you know, whoever won in the races, you know, whether it's in the primary or in the general to come, that they really have a plan in place and that they're, you know, there's a lot of promises been made, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I hope that they are already looking ahead to what have I got to do to start making this happen.
Right.
And realizing that it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
And, you know, the most discouraging thing would be for there to be a turnover.
Yeah.
And then a year or two from now, we have a major tax increase.
Yep.
Or there's something that happens where, you know, a lot of talk's been about the ambulance service. If they make a change there and the services provided go way down, we start having issues.
Yeah.
It's a balance that has to be struck, and I'm praying all the best for everybody, you know, because we all, like I said, we want the same thing. So I truly do wish them well, you know, and I hope that they're looking ahead already. I hope they don't wait till September or whenever they're going to get put in.
No, I don't think you'll see that. Going to the ambulance service, we need a local ambulance service.
Yeah.
It's vital. We need that, and whatever we need to do to make that happen, we need to do. As far as taxes going up, I don't think anybody will, well, some people will disagree with me just to disagree, but we're going to need, property taxes are going to go up from time to time. What I don't like is that being the first thing we jump to every year. It seems like we're going to raise property tax. fight to find a solution.
That's right.
If that's what you come down to, and that's what you got to do, then okay,
Yeah.
I think citizens will understand. But it seems like every year that's one of the first things thrown out there where we're going to have to raise property taxes when that's not the case.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. You know, I don't know how that's going to pan out. We're, you know, trying to meet, you know, whether it's different departments, because that's another thing. How are you going to go to a department, whether it's the schools or the jail or whoever, and say, we need you to cut your costs down?
Right.
They're going to look at you and say, where? You know, where can we cut it? Because we don't have any, you know.
I'm kind of at the point there with the schools. I don't think you should cut anything with schools.
Yeah.
The kids are our future.
I believe that too.
I don't think you need to cut anything there. When it comes to the jails, I don't think that they should get everything that they're asking for, because people are in there that did wrong. I'm not saying they don't deserve a second chance, but why are we paying for it?
I agree.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's got to come from somewhere, but use your brain, sit down, and let's figure out an idea, rather than the citizens are going to pay for this. They're in there because they've done something to us.
Yeah.
Why are we paying for it for them to rehabilitate? I disagree with that. So we'll see how it happens, how it all turns out.
Well, I'm still excited for, you know, everybody, but at what point, because, you know, you talked about getting hooked up with Chuck Asa and doing the election coverage the past few times.
Yeah.
What made you fire up Smitty's election headquarters? Like, what was that?
That's really something that started out so simple that it's turned into something. It's grown to where we about 1,000 people in there now, I guess. My wife came home from work one day, and her and a co-worker, I won't name them, or I won't name her, I'll say that.
Name them. Let's do it.
That's me to do that. I gotta be careful. They were wanting to put a poll out there about the sheriff's race, and said, you ought to get Smitty to create a poll. I mean, to create a group and put this poll out here. So we talked and we laughed. We just laughed about it. And so I created it. And one of the first things I did was put a poll out there. Well, the poll didn't go the way they wanted it to go. So
who's they? Your wife and her friend?
No, not my wife. The friend.
Okay.
Didn't go the way that she wanted it to go, and basically wanted me to take it down or end the group or whatever.
In the group. Well, kill it.
Yeah,
take it down.
that kind of fueled my fire. I was like, let's see where this thing will go.
Oh, man, look at you.
Because I really do. I want people to come on there, and I want to, let's have discussions.
Yeah, right.
Don't come up here and beat somebody upside the head.
Well, you know, I thought that's what the Concerned Citizens page originally was for, right? Was to have the discussion.
I haven't talked to them, but I think so. I think it started off that way.
And it kind of took a different turn. And when you created that, I was like, hey, here's the place you can do that at now. You know what I mean?
Well, you can, and because I may not think like you do. That doesn't mean that I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah.
I want you to have a place to have a discussion, and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't put up with people, like I say, I call it beating their brains in. You're not going to do that in the group.
No.
But let's have a discussion about it. We're adults. Let's act like adults, and let's talk about the problems and see if we can come up with a solution that then in turn you can take to your commissioner, or you can take to whoever you need to take it to. And you'd be surprised the good ideas that other people have that maybe you haven't thought about, maybe I haven't thought about, and I go, wait a minute, let me think about that. And you can do that there.
Yeah. Hang on, brother. You got a good idea. That's the first one you've ever had. Hold on to it.
Yeah.
No, But seriously, it's a good thing. And so I was wondering what the story was behind that.
Man, that was it. It just happened one day, and we got to laughing about it, and I said, I'll do it. And I did it, and it kind of went from something really simple to it's grown into now to where we have discussions about local politics. And it's turned out to be a really good thing. I'm proud of it.
Well, I think it is. And, where are you going to go do that at? You know, I mean, you can go shoot the crap with people when you get coffee in the morning for a little bit, the guys you work with at work.
Yeah.
But, like, getting everybody together is hard.
It is.
And so you really got to do something kind of like this and talk about it at Smitty's election headquarters and put it on there and give everyone a chance to read it, And so I don't know, man.
I don't, don't ban people, block people, that's childish. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I may not agree with it. Now, if you start you get out of line, I'll message you and ask you to, hey, tone that down a little bit,
Yeah.
whatever. If you don't want to listen, then we'll go another route, But I'm all for open discussions
Yeah.
for anybody to have about local politics.
Well, some people hate talking about it. It don't bother me. It ain't my favorite thing. I'm not obsessive over it. Like I see some people be obsessive over it, But I mean, I live my life so that I can go home and have fun with my wife and kids. Politics
right.
is not my life,
Yeah.
But I understand how important it is. If you don't think it's important, then just go to sleep at the wheel in local politics and local
Yeah.
government, and things will not be going so good.
Yeah, well, and I
So-
started to shut it down after the primary because I am a small business owner. I'm really busy, and I didn't have the time to devote to it. And I had so many people to reach out to me and say, "Man, please just leave that," And so I took a little break, I guess you'd say, because I do like to monitor what people are saying and all
Yeah.
that. But now we're back at it, and with the general election coming up, just a couple of months, we'll kick back up with some discussions and topics and see what people have to say.
What do you think about the forum y'all put on for the primary? Are y'all thinking about doing another forum for the general?
Well, what did I think about it? I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was informative to the people, and that's what we want to be. Chuck and I both. We want to be informative, and we want to try to get stuff out there that people may not know or not aware of. We have talked briefly about doing another one, but I haven't talked to Chuck in about 3 weeks, so I
Yeah.
don't know if that's going to come to fruition.
Okay. Well, I'm holding you to it, Chuck. Because
Yeah.
I called him and asked if I come to the primary and speak, and he said, "No, we're going to do another one." So.
Oh, well, if Chuck said we're going to do it,
Okay.
then Smitty will be there.
Well, all right. I know people get busy, and there was a lot more buzz around the primary,
Yeah.
But
we do need to, in fairness, we need to have one for the general. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you my word. I'll call
oh,
Chuck.
dang, man.
And I'll talk to Chuck and see if we can't make that happen.
I'll take it, because I know I'm making these videos. You never know how far these things go.
No.
It's strange the people who I run into who I barely know, and they're like, "Hey, man, been watching it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Keep up
Oh,
the
I
good
think
work."
it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do a great job.
Well, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, You can't see my setup here, but I'm literally just filming off my iPhone on a tripod, and we got these two mics hooked up, and I don't know, man.
Hey, it's
flying
good.
by. But the content, it's more of the people,
Yeah.
and what they bring up and,
Yeah.
and their concerns and their insight and their unique perspectives and journeys, and that's what really makes it,
Yeah.
And it's cool because, I mean, gosh, I've had a pastor friend of mine on. I've had a guy I used to work with on. He actually run and won in the primary, Cody Walker.
Yeah.
He and I used to work together at New Corps. You said your son was a supervisor at New Corps.
He is.
Yeah, which one?
Don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know nothing about it. Don't tell me. I don't care.
I just know it. At one point, we talked about getting him out of there
Yeah.
because he does miss a lot of family stuff.
Yeah.
And he was kind of down about it and looking for a new direction. But I think he's kind of settled in there now and understands this is going to be his life for a few years, and he's going to hang in there. But I've asked him, it seemed like I asked him just a few months ago, and I can't remember if it's Hickman or whatever. Yamato.
Cody and I worked at Yamato.
Yeah.
I feel like there was an Adam Smith that
Yeah.
worked there, but I just can't place him. I don't know.
Well, he's not a little fella. He's a big boy.
Big boy.
Yeah, he likes those weights, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's jacked then.
Yeah, he's jacked.
Okay.
He's jacked.
Right on. Well, yeah, man. I don't know. I'm trying to make sure I've kind of covered everything. I mean, is there anything you want to leave us with?
No, I just want to tell everybody. Well, first I want to thank you for calling and asking me.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure to be here with you, and to the citizens, vote. It's hard to it's easy to sit back on that keyboard and complain about everything, but if you don't vote, really, to me, you really don't have a voice.
You don't have a right to complain.
Well, you really don't.
Yeah.
And stand up for Jesus.
That's right.
That's what I want to tell you. That's where you should be.
That's right. Well, that's why I got involved. I mean, I felt led, as stupid as that sounds. I've had so many people tell me, you got to be an idiot to want to be a commissioner. Why do you want to run for anything like that?
Right.
I lost like 3 nights of sleep in December praying about it until finally, I was like, it didn't come from me because I didn't want to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm busy working, my construction job now,
Yeah.
but it kind of came out of nowhere. And finally I was like, I'm not going to get to sleep again if I don't just submit. So
Yeah.
I was like, if this is what you want, Lord, then I'll give it a go. And,
Yeah.
win or lose or whatever happens, I mean, it's been nice getting to know more people than I ever did before. And it's been exciting, And so whatever it is, you need to make sure you're doing God's will for your life. It can be big things or small things. It don't matter. But you just need to pray and know in your heart that you have peace with what you're doing in your life that is according to what God wants. And so if you do that, I don't think you'll ever go wrong. I think that's kind of the meaning of your story here today. It's kind of led you to everything else that you did, all the way back to painting.
100%, man.
Yeah, well,
I'm here because of him.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. And, I look forward to doing it again sometime.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be seeing you.